Hello everyone, this is Shiny Noctiles, and tonight, well, not tonight, but because the sun's still out, but this afternoon, figure I would do an update video on my ancestry. I unlocked Genesis and Crucible deep dive or quantum deep dive results for my true ancestry. And so yeah, so I wanted to kind of go over this for a wee bit. Let me see if I can get everything situated here. Give me a sec. Let me look. Okay, so I got my ancestry DNA results finally in because I kind of wanted to do a comparison with what is it? It was with what is it? Yeah, MyHeritage. Yeah, I just wanted to do like a quick comparison of the DNA results, and I kind of have a feeling that MyHeritage is probably a little bit more accurate. I just have like a feeling because I don't Ancestry DNA. I think the problem with this one, I mean, it is good in its own way, and I'm glad I took it. But like one thing I noticed right off the bat, because see, this seems more accurate for my ancestry, because I do have Asian in my ancestry. I call myself Ryanbu Japanese plus Celtic healer because I have like a mix of like Japanese and native ancestry that's kind of come together for my European ancestry, and I got some also some potential like ancient Egyptian or Guanche ancestry as well. And then of course Greek and Norse and Celtic and Germanic and Scandinavian and all that. But yeah, so like one thing that really confuses me with ancestry DNA's raw DNA is like I know I have like Asiatic steppe ancestry, not only from like Japan, Japanese mixing with the natives, but also like also steppe Asiatic people also go into Europe during the medieval period, like the Huns, the Ruran, the Avars, all these different groups, and even some of the Turks and all that. But yeah, like I don't think it's that high for me. Like I think like Avars, and then this would be really be Ruran or Joron because this predated when there was like Kublai Khan and his Mongol horde, but this is before then. Actually, I learned that the Ruran and Avars Um, because a lot of times, like they'll say, like, "Oh no, like the Turks are like some of the closest Asians to like the Koreans and even some of the Japanese." But what I learned was actually it was the Ruran and the Avars themselves, the ones who, um, because the reason why they left the Asiatic steppe region in in Siberia and eastern Northeast Asia is because the Gokturks eventually rose to power, and so the Ruran had to eventually find another place to go because they were, they were kind of in danger. And so some went west to Europe, some went east to the Americas, and I'm sure some went east also to Japan. And that's probably why, like, when I look at some of like the East Asian ancestry, like for example, like even the Americas, and it would just show that the Yayoi and Jomon did in fact come to the Americas. I think it was this one. Yeah. And I have it here too. Let me see if I can get both. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me get these both here to show you. Because sometimes people ask, like, how did the Japanese come to the Americas, or how did they mix and all that? But if you look here, you'll see Saka, Avar, Hungarian conqueror Yayoi, which would have been like the Jomon Northeast Asian mix, I'm assuming, or East Asian as well. Mongol horde, all that, and then you'll see, because I learned the Japanese are pretty genetically close, specifically to the Ninva people, the Ninvex, and I think the Jomon are as well. I'll have to see if I can get an image here. Let me see. Because I think yeah, so this would be kind of like. a good idea of what some of them would look like. I think the Ninviks, I think, are like Northeast Asian, Siberian, I think. I'll have to look. Northern half is Sakhalin Island, Lower Amur River, yeah, Siberia, even inhabited parts of Manchuria. Yeah, so that seems accurate. Yeah, because I remember on a DNA test I saw that the not only the Yayoi but even the Jomon also were not too far away from them. Probably because of the shared East Asian ancestry. So yeah, so um, because I have another one here, and this will show you the Jomon part. Yeah, so you see some of the natives would have gotten the more of the Yayoi ancestry, and some would have gotten more of the Jomon. And that's probably why you'll see stuff like let me see if I can get it here. Yeah, like so Sanganji, Jomon, Okinawa, um, Sanganji. There should be here. Yeah, no, Sanganji's right there. Okay. Sanganji's north of Tokyo, I believe, for anyone who doesn't know. Yeah, I think Sanganji. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, Shinji Tohaku region, Japan, to Tokyo. What's the distance? Okay. Yeah, it's north of Tokyo. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so that's something I wanted to cover real quick because, and the reason why I wanted to cover this, like the whole like Jomo and Yayoi connection, is because now it kind of makes sense why, sometimes like they'll say like some Japanese feel like a connection to like um Germans or Hungarians or even some of the northern Native Americans. And it makes sense now because what I'm thinking is the Yayoi ancestry, aside from it being East Asian, it also has the Northeast Asian component, which I watched a YouTuber named Azumi Kaya, and she mentioned about the Tungsik people, and I'm thinking that the Ruran or Joron, as they would be called in Japan, probably are closely aligned to those group of people, or like closely aligned to the ancient Northeast Asian ancestry. And so now it kind of makes sense why. Because as you go from like South Amerindian, Mesoamerindian, North Amerindian, Arctic Amerindian, North and Arctic tend to have more of the more recent East Asian ancestry, or more like the I guess Yayoi recent admixture, while Meso and South Amerindian, I think they have more of the Jomon. Well, some of it's also like Jomon Yayoi, I think mix, but definitely North and Arctic, especially if they have maternal haplogroup D as well, because that's like the main East Asian lineage. Then you can definitely see that connection there. Um, and the only reason I'm mentioning this too is because um, like if even if we just do because I can show both, but I just wanted to cover all this real quick because it kind of, and sometimes it won't always even just be maternal haplogroup D, because sometimes I guess Uran and Joron, they mixed with all different sorts of people. See, this one I kind of can understand why it can be pretty high because it may not even be from only my dad's side, even my mom's side. I know my mom was always like She always had like a thing for like horses. Like I know some people really enjoy horses, and she really I don't know, she really bonded with them well. I don't know if she rode horses herself, but I know my mom has visited Japan, and she actually recently visited Korea not too long ago. And she really liked Korea actually, more so than in even, well, I guess everyone has an own personal opinion, right? You know, some people like visiting other places more than others, but she really, really enjoyed Korea. Like, I think she enjoyed Japan, but she really enjoyed Korea. I don't know if it's because Koreans are a bit more expressive in some ways in Japanese, or I don't know what it was, but yeah, like she just really had a good time there. And so this I can kind of believe, why I might have this huge sample. And it may not even just be for my dad's side, it could even be for my mom. Because like one time my mom had a patient that they thought she was Japanese, and my mom's predominantly European. I don't think even she has even any like Native American Japanese mix, but she might still have like some like steppe Japanese ancestry, like from the medieval period. So, and this might be part of it. And so yeah, so this kind of makes sense to me, and why they probably thought my mom was Japanese, probably because it's probably more in line with the Yayoi ancestry, even though here it seems like it's more Central Asian. I think Buryat is also not like too far from yeah, Nineveh, Buryat, all that. I think is pretty close to modern Japanese. Um, and some of these groups were even in, I guess, Mongolia before the Mongols or Mongolian horde, like through Kublai Khan and Genghis and all that were there, like later on in history. But yeah, um, so I'm gonna see if I can pull out some other ancestry. Yeah, so this I believe as well. The same maternal haplogroup T. I don't think maternal haplogroup T is necessarily East Asian. I think it's more European based. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. Um, yeah, European. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I think it's highest among which groups? Maternal haplogroup T. Um, Udmurts. Yeah, so Western Volga Euro region. Uh, Chechen, Netherlands, Sardinia, Iceland, Switzerland, Hungary. Yeah, Ukraine. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah. Um, this one was T1. Not, sorry about that. Romania, Balkans, Turkey, South Coast, Austria. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. So and then ones that specifically East Asian based, like maternally. Yeah, this one. So this one, so yeah, some of the Ruron or Avars would have had the maternal haplogroup D. I call it Willow D because maternal haplogroup D is interesting how it's been in the Americas since the beginning, and then it was some of the last people, some of the last quote unquote natives who came to the Americas, like the Eskimos or the Inuits or even the groups after them, still carried that maternal haplogroup D. So that's why I always have a soft spot for maternal haplogroup D, and it's also I think the most prominent one in Japan as well, I think. But yeah, so here you can see definitely a connection to Tuva, Buryat. So Tuva, I think they're like, um, because I've been trying to learn about a lot of East Asia and Siberia because I really didn't know as much about it as as other groups, or I mean as other people might. Um, this reminds me a bit of like a little bit of sumo, just a little bit. Um, yeah, like it, like I feel like when I look at this person, I feel like I could see a Japanese person who could look similar to this person. Yeah. It also gives me like a little bit of like I don't know if you guys have played like certain Final Fantasy games, but that kind of makes me think of that as well. Um, yeah, like it makes sense. Yeah. Um, what was the other one? Boreat. Hopefully, I'm not butchering the names, by the way. Yeah, it just kind of makes sense, like how, because even Izumi Kaya, who I mentioned is the Japanese YouTuber, she did mention about groups from like Central Asia, the Tungzik area, Manchuria, Northeast Asia, Siberia, who also, migrated to Japan. And so this is where I'm thinking why some of the Japanese are not that far genetically distant from these groups. Because I think they say Japanese have like at least 15-20% Northeast Asian ancestry. So that's like aside from like the Yellow River farmer ancestry, I guess, from China. So it would make sense. It would make sense. Um, yeah, because definitely, and then this one definitely. I've seen a Japanese person who looks like this for sure. Yeah, so this kind of checks out for me. This kind of shows that, and this is again, this is maybe why I don't know about China, but I know Korea and Japan in particular. Well, I know Korea for sure, but I think even Japan, like there is a connection to like certain parts of Europe, and this is probably why the reason probably why is because the parts of Europe they feel connected to, like Germany, Hungary, and Turkey's not. Turkey to me is not necessarily Europe; it's more like West Asia. But anyways, or Anatolia. It's like the gateway. I think it's because the Asiatic steppe people who did come from Northeast Asia and then who migrated to those countries in Europe. I guess the Japanese and even some like the Koreans were still able to like identify deep in their minds. It's like, hey, like we still feel a connection to you. Like even if we can't, even though it's been like hundreds or even like over 1,000 years, like we can see why we feel connected the way we do. And so now like it kind of makes sense like why it is how it is because for me I didn't even realize this is me personally. I didn't realize there were certain people in Europe that came to Europe in the medieval ages that were genetically close to like Tuva and Boreat all the way from Northeast Asia, Siberia, and they connected and already connected in a way to Yayoi and Japanese through the ancient Northeast Asian ancestry. Like that never came into my mind. Like I just never really thought about it like that. Maybe some people of European descent, maybe it's more clear for them. But for me, it was like, I mean, this is actually, it's pretty cool to learn about this because I, I've been trying to learn more about East Asia. I mean, the whole, not only like just like the borders, like only like, you know, because like really like when you think about nomadic people, it's like it makes me think of like Nomad Push, like with his toy horse, like he's not confined by borders, or he has his van that he drives. And so to me, it makes sense like why it is how it is, and even like with like, because I know some of the East Asians, like I know there was like a Chinese YouTuber named Fung Bros. He said something about that he felt like he could look like an Eskimo or something, and I think I know why. I mean, and he might have had some Northeast Asian ancestry too, because if you look here, you see clearly the what would become the Arctic, some of the Arctic natives, or like the Eskimo, and it doesn't just mean those who eat raw meat, but those who also tie snowshoes. And now I think I know why there's this thing about eating raw meat, not only like sashimi in Japan and maybe even Korea, but also like as far west as like Germany and maybe even Hungary is because probably, and then, of course like the Americas, like the northern natives, like Arctic natives, it's probably because this was a custom that they practice. eating raw meat. Maybe they did it because it was at the time, maybe it got too cold in the winter in the steppe region, and maybe it was just easier to eat the meat raw. Or maybe they ate they ate the raw meat fresh, like in the Arctic, and they probably wouldn't get as sick that way because it was fresh. And maybe they did the same thing, not only in the Arctic and the Americas, but also in Northeast Asia. Well, I think even Japan, when they eat sushimi, I think it is fresh. And maybe this custom was also practiced in like Northeast Asia, Mongolia, maybe not as far west as Germany. So, in Hungary. So maybe this is why it is how it is. And I never really understood it. I'm like, why do they do it this way? Like I don't really understand. But now it makes more sense to me. They went everywhere. And see, I can't blame the Ruran or Joron. It would be Joron sounds like judo, by the way, in Japanese. I can't blame them for going in all these different directions. Well, because people migrate in general, of course, but they left for a reason. I mean, it's not like they left willy-nilly. Like they left because it was said that there was a huge battle between the Gokturks and then the Ruran, and the Ruran, just I guess they just had to go to different areas. They couldn't stay in that area for whatever reason. And so they probably just went to um, yeah, so they went into Europe, they probably went into Japan, and then they went to the Americas. And I'm not trying to say like, as this as a jab to Turks in general, because I don't think because it's like the same thing with the Mongols. Like there weren't not all the Mongolians supported like Genghis and Kublai and his horde at the time. And I'm sure that was the same thing with the Turks as well. And so now I can kind of understand why uh, why it is how it is. When I look at the Lombard armor, it really does remind me of the Ruran armor. I think that what happened, I could be wrong, but I think when the Ruran or Avars came to Europe and they met with the Lombards, there was probably some trading that they did, whether it was weapons, whether it's armor. And maybe this is why the Lombard armor looks so similar to the. I mean, it looks like it should. I'm not. It's not like a copy paste, but it's like there was probably like a lot of inspiration or a lot of kind of cultural exchange, if you will, between both groups. And the Lombards also were a group from Scandinavia that settled in northern Italy and I think even Hungary as well. So I definitely think there was an exchange between the two groups. I'll try to see another image of the Ruran because I don't think I think I can find a more flattering image. I don't think the Ruran were necessarily all like that. Let me see if I can find uh, Joron. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is a little bit better. Yeah. When I look at um the Avar here, Ruran, it reminds me so much of Norwegian YouTuber I watch called Bjorn Anders Bohansen. I don't know what it is because Bjorn's Norwegian, but there's something about like the way his face is that just reminds me so much of Bjorn. I'll show you Bjorn from Norway. I mean, I could be wrong, but there's just something. There's something I see. Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe not 100%, but I'm sure there was some mixing that that happened. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think. I'm not 100% positive, but that's what I think. And then when you look at the Ruran and Samurai armor, because when I think of the Ruran, or when I look at the armor of the Ruran Avars, it does, I mean, of course, the Samurai armor does look a little bit different, because it probably went through, of course, modifications. But if you look at like the base layer, like especially here, like look at the armor here, and then, yeah, look at the armor here. I wouldn't be surprised if some of like the base inspirations of the armor of the samurai could have come from the Joron or Avars or the Shanbei, which they were said. I think the Ruran and Joron were descended from the Shanbei, or in Japanese they'd be called Senpi. Senpi. Uh, it sounds almost like senpai, but I think they would say Senpi. Um, yeah, I have a strong like it's not even just like it's like, oh, maybe, like, no, like I think it's there, like I can see it, I can see the inspiration for sure. Yeah. And it's crazy how that inspiration not only went into Japan, but it went all the way to Europe, went to the Americas. I mean, they went everywhere. I mean, this was before uh the the even so, centuries even before the Mongol horde and all that with Kublai and Genghis. And see, this is maybe why, because now when I think of like the samurai fighting the Mongols led by Genghis Khan in Battle of Tsushima, maybe this is why the samurai, in some ways, it reminded me a lot of like the Ruran or Joron fighting the Gokturks, or finding a way to not want to be like subdued in a negative way. Maybe just like how the Gokturks were trying to do it to the Ruran or Avars, and this is why they went to multiple different areas. This, they probably centuries later, it was almost like when Kublai sent his forces to Japan. It's like they were almost trying to do the same thing to the samurai that were there, that the Gokturks had tried to do to the Joron or Ruran centuries before. So I'm not trying to like say negative things about the Turks or Gokturks necessarily, because like I don't think all of them were negative or bad, the same as like the Mongols led by Kublai or Genghis. I'm just saying, like, this is what I kind of see in my mind. This is kind of what I feel like might have happened, you know. Um, but yeah, so and it really is interesting to like think about, because I never really understood how intertwined like the Northeast Asian or even East Asian ancestry was with not only Americas but even Europe. I always kind of felt it was more isolated. It was more like, okay, I'm over here, you're over there, and that's how it is. But that's not really how it is. It's more like, oh no, you actually came over here hundreds or thousands of years ago, uh, both to Europe and of course, to the Americas as well. And so yeah, like I don't know if you guys ever have had that dissonance before. I don't know if it's just me, but now it kind of makes more sense. Another thing that's interesting too, like kind of shifting away from just the even before the medieval like steppe nomadic Asiatic migration. Um, you know, I had a sample here that was even, of course, there no, like it was even, and let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, so this one was really interesting. So late Neolithic China, hopefully I'm not butchering it, Balaigong, Tuan River, Henan Province. So this was a sample from 5,000 years ago. So this was like way before the names of the Huns or the Avars or Uran Turks or Mongol horde, all that was meant Mongols, all that was mentioned in Europe. Um, so what's cool about this is that this individual, she reminds me a lot of like the Morgan or Izanami. And for those who don't know, who the Morgan or Izanami are, um, you know, so yeah, so this would be like an image of one image of the Morgan. This would be like another. This would be another. This would be another. Be another. was like one that was like really cool. I mean, it might be a little bit more, out a little bit more for a mature audience, but there's like one like where she has like a I'm gonna see if I can find it. This kind of reminds me of a geisha in a way, like a geisha, but like in Europe. Um, yeah, where is it? Mm, maybe I don't know if they deleted it. It's like one where like yeah, this one. Yeah, so this was the one. This one that's a little bit more mature, but this definitely reminds me of like this is where like it's kind of like a cross where I can see Morgan being European, but I could definitely see her being Asian as well. Like it's just kind of like I can see both. Like it's like that intersection. And I never used to understand it that well before, but I think I get it better now that especially that I've spent time reading more about East Asia, more about, you know, Siberia and that region. Like I just never really, like I'll see if I can find one here. Let's see. Yeah, so see one that's like, there's definitely quite a bit. Yeah, I just kind of see like a connection there. Like I just feel like, and maybe this is like part of it. I mean, I know this was a sample from like a fair amount of time like ago, but and I learned that this maternal haplogroup D4B2B is mostly commonly found in Japan today. When I think of Henin, I think of Heian, like Japan. And D4B2 is actually an intersection maternal haplogroup found in both the Jomo and Yayoi. But if you see here, oh yeah, and for those who don't know, because I know not everyone knows like who Jomo and Yayoi are. Okay, so the Jomon would be like the indigenous people of Japan, and then Yayoi were people who came later. And so you can see a Jomon individual on the left, and you can see a Yayoi individual on the right, and of course mixed on the middle. You can see the same for the Jomon on the left, Yayoi in the right, and mixed in the middle. Uh, and then you can see, uh, as far as women are concerned, you can see Jomon women on the left, Yayoi women on the right. Of course, there's everything in between. I think with the men, it was always kind of strange why they would always say, Japanese can't grow beards, but there are some Japanese men that definitely can. Um, yeah. So yeah, so you can see here this individual is related to like Germanic people like the Gepid, Cherusci, Thuringi, as well as the Gallo-Celtic Sequini and Adui. And yeah, you can see she was related to modern day populations like the Spanish, Portuguese, Puerto Rican. I'm not sure if it's like Puerto Rican scaled more with Spanish or native mix. I'm not sure with that one, but North Italian, French. Maybe this is why the Japanese are so. Some of them really have a thing for France. I don't know if that's why. Yeah, and so yeah, so like it really kind of like I can put it better together now. Like before, I just and maybe this is why Japanese like when they make a lot of RPG games, it's more so with the medieval period. This might be why, because like especially when I think of like Dragon Quest, like I think a lot of like medieval Europe, and maybe this is why it is like this because um, maybe that's they're kind of like pulling the ancestral memory when the Asiatic uh, some of their ancestors really that's what it is. That's what I think the Northeast Asia, and I guess would be applied to me as well. Like when they went not only into the Americas but when they also went into Europe, and so maybe this is why Japan was really interested because they don't really cover always cover like the period of Rome that much, or I mean sometimes, but it's more like medieval Europe, like like post Rome. Um, I mean there are like a few games that will include like more like the Roman or Greek influence, like Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 12 is like another one. I've played a bit of that as well. I'm gonna see if I can stream more of it. It also includes some of the Americas too, like the Native Americas. But yeah, it's like um, yeah. But I noticed like a lot of like the original games were really more so medieval European based. And now I can understand why, because when you look at the people who migrated to Europe, like the Asiatic people who migrated to Europe in the medieval period, it makes sense. But there were some who probably even came before, and see when I say before, like with this match, um, might be like why sometimes I feel like when I get like images of like the Morgan or Alice, as she also sometimes likes to refer to herself as. Maybe this is why she says like her and Izanami are like sisters because it's like that connection between um, the Morgan and Izanami from over thousands of years ago. That's the only thing I can think of. Um, yeah, and maybe this is why Kinko Ito, a Japanese YouTuber I sometimes watch, would tell me if you can speak Spanish, you can speak Japanese. And there's a funny saying I like to say that kind of combines Japanese and Spanish together. I know in English, I know there's a way like when you combine Spanish and English, they call it Spanglish, or I don't know if you can combine Spanish and French even more, be like Franchish or Spanish, or I don't know how you say it, but Japanese and Spanish, I think you would call it Spananese. It almost like it sounds like spam, but it's like instead of spam, it's like Spananese or Japish. I don't know. It's Jap Spanish. I don't know. It's but it's Spanish. I don't know. But yeah, so there's like a saying that I sometimes would say is like hora ora. So it'd be like hora, which means like hora, like see in Japanese, and ora means now. So if you combine hora and ora, it just means see now. Like, do you see now? And this makes a lot of sense. Like I really think this particular sample, because some people might think the Asiatic connection between like maybe the Celts or because there's like a famous there's like a I call my uncle Cherokee Japanese Herman Nobu Uematsu, or like he's like the Nobu Uematsu because he looks a lot like him, like he really does. I'll see if I can get an image of my uncle Cherokee Japanese Herman, but like they just look so similar to each other. Like I'll see if I can get an image because they really look like brothers or like very very closely related. Even though my uncle's like he would tell me like it's interesting you think I have any Asian in me, but I'll show you like it's really um I feel like if my uncle Cherokee Japanese Herman went to Japan and spoke with Nobuo Uematsu, I feel like they would say could we get a bite to eat? Like I feel like it's that close. Like it's really It's not just like, oh, like it's just like maybe he looks like him. I'm like, no, like he really looks like him, at least in my opinion. But I'm gonna share it and see what you guys think. I don't know if I can. See if I can. I'm gonna see if I can. Yeah. So you see Nobuo Uematsu on the left, and then you see my Uncle Cherokee Japanese Farmer on the right. I just feel like these two look like they just look like, if not brothers, like definitely close cousins. Like there's just something like it's like, yeah, and it's also like the interesting thing too with both is like they both appreciate, Celtic healer. Like, that's what my Uncle Cherokee Japanese Herman calls me. And there's a quote that Nobuo Uematsu, for those who don't know, Nobuo Uematsu is like a musical composer, well known for like composing music for Final Fantasy in particular. But you'll see okay, so this is one thing he mentioned. As you may know, my use of Celtic music is extremely simple and short. However, there is something about it that will remain in your mind for a long, long time. And this is something, oh yeah, and then another one. There's some familiarity in Celtic music, even if you've never heard that piece of music before. And so, just these two sayings, he just really reminds me of my uncle. Like, just like it's insane. And it's not even just my uncle. I like my great grandmother Lita, who I like. To me, she's like a geisha. She looked a lot similar to, very similar to Taeko Shitama, who was a kind of she kind of witnessed what happened in Japan during the war, and thankfully she was able, she was fine even after that, and she was able to heal with the U.S. as well as um or at least like with like the militaries and all that, and then have a beautiful family here. But it's just they look so similar to me. It's like with my Uncle Cherokee Japanese from Nobuo Uematsu, like they look like, I don't even want to say cousins. I want to say sisters. Cause here, like with them, I could say, okay, if they're not brothers, okay, they might be cousins. But definitely here with my great grandmother Lita and then Daiko Shitama, I really want to say like they're sisters. Like it's, to me, it's that close. To me, at least, that's how I view it. But mm, and I think that's where most of the East Asian ancestry I inherited came from, and then maybe even I got some from my mom's side too, because again of the Asiatic people who moved in the medieval period. Maybe even some before though, who knows? But yeah, but this is really interesting how even 5,000 years ago in Henan, China, and this is probably where some of the Yayoi came from a long time ago, maybe even some connection to the Jomon. You can see a clear connection with Spain, Portugal, North Italy. Because when the Romans first came to Europe, they were really not that genetically distinct from the Celts. I know later on they would call Celts barbarians, but originally, it was not like that. They originally had a shared ancestry, and initially the Romans just like, because the Mycenaean Greeks also used to grow their hair long as well. The Romans also had their own long-haired ancestors, and this is probably the connection to the Celts, or I mean, you can say maybe Celtic Germanic mix. I only just say Celt because I because like I think a lot of people, they, I mean, there's some people who even think North Italians are all just German, but that's not really the truth. I mean, of course, there's Germanic influence. There's no question, but there's also Celtic influence as well. It's like a mix. It's like a blend, and this is what I see. It's like a mix of Germanic and Celtic. You see, even as far back as 5,000 years ago in this part of Asia. And so yeah, so that's what I'm kind of thinking, like deep in my mind. It's like this is probably how it is. And this is probably why I'm gonna try how I can break this down. This is probably why. Well, I don't know about the 5,000 years ago part for a lot of people who have European ancestry now, but as far as like some people who look Asian or even some people who look Mongolian or some people who look maybe even Chinese or a bit of Japanese and Korean, maybe there is like that connection with like the Mongols and the Avars and the Huns and the Turks and all that. And I never really put it together. Like I don't know why. But now I see. Now it kind of makes sense. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually a nice thing because you know, because I know especially with like there are some natives like especially like if you go to Mexico or down south, like they'll say like we have no connection to Asians. Maybe we feel connection to Filipinos and Polynesians and Hawaiians and maybe even sometimes Jomon, but we have no connection to East Asians. And I'm like, well, I hate to break it to you, but there's a reason why the Yayoi came together with the Jomon. There's a reason why it wasn't just, okay, we're just gonna stay um, this way, forever. No, there's a reason why, things changed and why people came together. And even though it wasn't always pretty per se, sometimes it was brutal, like, but people did eventually come together. And I do have a match. I haven't received it yet. I don't know if I will, but my dad did have. I'm just gonna do this real quick to show you guys. I'm not gonna spend too much time because I know this was mainly more so for my own ancestry, but for my dad, like he has, because sometimes my uncle, Cherokee Japanese Herman, will also say like he feels like his connection to Japan is really like he'll mention like the Ainu or Hatsuku. I don't know if he's mentioned Okinawans, but like he'll always say like the Jomon still lived. So, but there's a reason why the Jomon lives anyways, whether it's Jomon Yayoi, and you'll see why through maternal haplogroup D. Um, because I think it all goes back like connected to like Izanami, and then maybe when there's a connection to the Morgan as well, like as sisters. But um, so my dad, so you can see maternal haplogroup D4H3A. So this one in particular, this maternal haplogroup, uh, D4H Japan. So what happened is if you look, going back to the Ice Age, so this is like a long time ago. Like even like if you think 5,000 years is a lot, we're going back, over 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 years ago. So what happened is during that era, and this I guess there were still ice sheets, in northern Asia and then the Americas, well, I guess even Europe. Some of the people with this maternal haplogroup went into the Americas and they probably crossed by boat. I don't think they all crossed straight through the Bering Strait. Not at that time, because I think it was completely frozen. Probably in the medieval period, if they didn't cross the Bering Strait, they at least crossed it, by boat. So probably in the medieval period, because I think like during this time they probably would have hugged the coast a bit more, so they would have gone through like Hokkaido and through the islands, and then they would keep going through the islands, and then they would eventually get into the Americas. I know my uncle Cherokee Japanese Herman says island hoppers, but it's not just Polynesian island hopping. I think it was also North Pacific island hopping too. And then probably when the ice sheets melted, and especially in the medieval period, the Asiatic groups were able to get closer into like the land area, like of like northeast Siberia. And then when they got really close, they probably just sailed to the other side or like on boat or kayak or whatever they had. And it probably just it wasn't it probably was a lot it was probably a fair bit easier because they wouldn't have had to cross as much water because the ice was already melted. So because I know there are some like natives that really get finicky about the whole, well, we didn't cross the Bering Strait, like we, and this is probably the reason why they do that is probably because, not all the natives have like the Arctic or even like the North native mix, or like the natives, or the it's like my dad calls it waves of Asians. It's like with the Japanese, it's like you had the Jomon, you had the Yayoi, you had the Han, you had all these groups of Asians who came to Japan. And that's the same thing that happens to the Americas. It's like, okay, you had some of the original natives, and you had other natives, and you had other Asians. That's what I look at it as, like other Asians. Maybe if they had maternal haplogroup X, maybe it was more like Europe or even possibly Middle East connection. But if it was A, B, C, D, mainly East Asian, like whether it's Southeast, Northeast, Central, East, whatever. And you can clearly see it because if you look at, okay, hold on, let me look here. Yeah, so, and then the closest individuals to this person would have been Pima, Inzak, Maya, Luceno, Maya, and see, it kind of makes sense because there are some Japanese that when I look at them, they do look almost like, I almost feel like I could see the person looking almost Mayan or almost Native American Mayan, like almost. There's something there, especially when they talk about the number zero, because like the Mayans, Native American Mayans were also huge into that as well. Um, so there's one Mayan. His name is Pedro Tate Cruz, and he reminds me so much of the founder of Aikido, Morihei Ueshiba. And I'll see if I can get an image of him as well. Morihei Ueshiba. There's not as many photos of anymore of him, but yeah. So he reminds me of, yeah, Morihei, because just like the way they look and just like their message about love, um, about the samurai not only being, you know, uh, a warrior who battles others, but also a warrior who also finds and spreads love as well. I think was the main message that Morihei wanted to share through Aikido. And I feel like Pedro Tate Cruz was very similar too. Like I feel like these are two very close, uh, um, kind of the way they look at things, at the world and things like that. It's like very similar. And I think that's because of the shared origin of D4H that they share. Going not only Yayoi but also Jomon, like the blend. And even like they also the way they grow their beards, it's very similar. Um, I still don't know why they're like, oh yeah, Japanese can't grow beards. I'm sure some can. I'm sure some really like maybe really some of them can't. But just say that's true for all Japanese is I think is kind of a something that I think needs to be revisited. Yeah. And so kind of like I'm just gonna do this quickly, but just kind of like the Japanese who I thought might have reminded me maybe this is connected to the maternal health group D4H as well. Like I'm not sure. It might not be. But when I look at Izumi Ichitani, there's definitely like there's something there that it's like okay, like I feel like if she went to like a Mayan ruins, or if she went to visit them, or if she talked to Morihei and Pedro Tate Cruz, uh, is it Pedro Tate or Tata? I have to see. Tata, okay. That's another one too, because I think Tata, um, I think it means like I don't know if it means mother like in old Japanese, because there's like a connection with that like in Peru as well. But even just like these little like breadcrumbs that you start noticing, it's like I just feel like there's like that strong connection that okay, like there's some Japanese that look like because some people think Japanese all look the same, that they all that there's no difference, everyone's the same, but that's not the truth. Like some people look very different. Um, and then of course there's another Japanese YouTuber I watch called Izumi Kaya. I'll see if I can get an image of her. Sorry about that. Japanese YouTuber. I don't know why there's not as much of Izumi. There's a little bit. No, there's another image. Hold on, let me see. Here, this is a good image. Yeah. So there's Izumi. But even Izumi like has her own unique look as well. Like I know Izumi says she feels like she has a lot more Jomo in her ancestry. Let me get like a side by side comparison just so you guys can see because I know sometimes it can be a little bit hard. Yeah, like I can see like the similarities. Like I know some people might think they look very different, but I think Izumi and Azumi, like even their names, like I feel like they're sisters. Like it's um like I think they're sisters. Like I feel like maybe Azumi leans more towards the Jomon, and then maybe Izumi leans a little bit more towards Yayoi. But it's not like they look like I don't feel like it's this different. Like because like there's some images like the Jomon Yayoi where it's like they look so different. It's like it's like okay, we can tell like they're very different. Like here, here, even here. But once it starts kind of mixing, once you mix the Jomo and Yayoi together, it's not as different. It's like, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a difference, but sorry. Let me catch my breath here. I feel like I've been sharing so much that it's like I don't want to lose too much wind. But like it's yeah, like it makes me think of like sometimes the Japanese speak like super quick, like when they go "Wah, wah, 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 wah." And so like I'm trying to catch up here. Yeah, and then it's like okay. So yeah, it like okay because here okay, so if you look at an image of the Japanese here I can definitely see like a bit well, it's not because you see even here like the Japanese girl here I know it says Yayoi people, but she doesn't look that different from Azumi. Maybe the women here, but the eyes they have is kind of like my own because I kind of have like happy smiling eyes. I'll see if I can get an image of it. I know some people kind of make fun of like certain eye structures because they think, oh, it's like, oh, your eyes are. I know sometimes they'll use the word like slanted or like some negative ways of doing of looking at things. I'll see if I can share mine because mine are like when you look at the women here, because it reminds me a bit of my great grandmother Lita, to be honest. So it's like it's not that different. Like it's like some people want to say, oh yeah, like the Jomon and Yayoi are so different. They'll never like intersect. I don't think it's true. I really think it's kind of you know I don't know if they're doing it to stoke the flames or stoke the flames in the sense that we like these two like I don't I'm gonna try to see if I can really I can get a see here. I should have an image. Maybe it's just in post. Maybe if I look into post. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me. I'm really trying to like break it down. It's just like it's because like when I look at it more and more, it's like people say, "Oh, they're so different." I'm like, mm, maybe maybe it's like, hold on. Let me see if I can. I think it'll be just a lot easier to show you guys because I think that's sometimes it's kind of like sorry about that. Sometimes people I think they over it's not that they overcomplicate things. It's not that. It's just they think it's like, oh no, like these two people just um they can't see the intersection. Like they just I don't know why, but yeah, let me see. Okay, I think it was this one. Okay, hold on. Okay. So I call it happy smiling eyes because that's how I look at it. I think it adds to me. Like I think it's just like especially when I smile, like and even my mom, like when she would like send images of me like being happy, and maybe this is what she connected with as well. It was always with me in my happy smiling eyes, and I think I probably got that maybe from my great grandmother Lita. I mean, I don't know, maybe I got from my mom and her maternal grandmother as well, or her mom as well. Um, but yeah, it's like um, okay, so let's see if I can see. I know it's a lot, but okay. So you look at my great grandmother Lita, you look at Daiko Shitama. Of course, I have my grandmother Pama as well, who I feel like could be a geisha in her own way as well. She was really interested in Japanese learning about Japan as well, and learning about what was this? Learning about she was also great at taking photos as well. Like she really um like I feel like the way she would kind of arrange like tables and things like that reminds me a lot of the Japanese for sure. Let me see if I can get an image here, and then I'll show my mom, my grandmother, or my grandmother Mama as well. I call her Mama because she likes to be called Mama. So that'd be my mom's mom. Okay, so yeah, I think this was my Pama, uh, or my grandmother Pama at. So that'd be like my dad's maternal mom. I think she was at a Chinese restaurant. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I know that at least my dad was like really huge into that, and probably um, my grandmother Palma was as well. Um, yeah, she just. I feel like she would have been a great geisha too, like her and Lita both. I would say Lita because she definitely has like the look of a geisha, and then Palma, she has kind of like the way she would kind of speak sometimes, because I know they say like geishas are also like known to be very like I don't know if the word courtesan's like a right way to describe it, but they know how to um, communicate elegantly with others, and Pama was definitely like that for sure. There's no question. Um, yeah, like there's just like I when I look at Pama too, like I feel like I can see like a bit of Izumi, but I can also see I can look at, see a little bit of Azumi as well. I feel like I can see both of them. There was also another first Japanese person that also reminded me a lot of my great grandmother Pama. That would have been there's like a Japanese painter. I think she's because like see my great grandmother Pama was like really big into like painting. Um, yeah, yeah, Yayoi Kusama. I know maybe she might have a bit more of a serious demeanor here than my than Pama, but when I would look at her art, I think Pama would do art differently, but I feel like they could have still have gotten along well in their own way because of course like even though their art forms are different. Okay, no, I like this image, like her smiling. Like even though their art forms are different, like I feel like because I think Pama would like do like images of like the ocean and images of like the sea and stuff like that. I feel like it would have intersected well. Um, and so yeah, so now with my I just want to do a quick image of Mama because she'd be like my maternal grandma on my mom's side. So maybe because maybe I could have gotten part of it from her as well, not just not just Pama, or not just Lita even, and maybe that's where like the East Asian ancestry is not only on my because a lot of times I think it's on my dad's side, like most or all of it, but maybe my mom has a little bit of it, maybe even if it's not as much. I just have a feeling. Yeah, so this is an image of my grandmother. Mama. Her name, aside from it being Mama, is Adi. And I learned Adi, I think, is closer to like Old English. And before, and her original maiden last name was Martel, and that's a French last name. Goes back to the history of France, and there was a famous battle, the Battle of Tours with Charles Martel, and then eventually, you know, my grandmother, her, and you know, Martel, you know, was famous leader France. Um, but yeah, so after you know, so you know, I guess after her maiden name Martel, she would eventually have adopted the last name Ortega, which is you know from my grandfather, my mom's dad. And, but yeah, so because even my grandmother, like she has like I maybe I know maybe her eyes might smile a bit differently, but I don't know, maybe like it's like the combination like I still feel like when I look at my eyes, they definitely look Japanese or like Japanese Asian, like it's just like I don't know, like it's just beautiful, like because maybe like my great grandmother Lita, uh, my grandmother Pama, and then my grandmother from my mom's side, and then myself. It's like it just blended really well, but I still had like the Japanese look, like the eyes. If anything else, like maybe like I grow like a big beard, but there's some Japanese that grow big beards too. Like I just feel like it's yeah, and then here too. I'm trying to remember his name again. Um I know Izumi I think did I post his name on my posts? Let's see. Yeah. Because I definitely feel like I have like not only like a Jomon but also Yayoi look. Like it's like it just came together. It just came together. People might say like it's like oh like how did you get that? Like you know Japanese you know they don't want foreigner, no foreigner. I hate to break it to you. It's like we just it just came to be. That's what happened. It just came to be, and yeah. Okay, what's his name again? Gotta find it because I apologies because I know Izumi like specifically. Maybe I'll check the video real quick again. because he's a well-known person in Japan. So, but yeah. Yeah, I still don't know why there are some people like there was a video of some people from Finland. I think it was like Miss Universe that was trying to make fun of the I don't know if it was specifically towards Japanese, but like Asians in general about like you know like like I call my eyes happy smiling eyes, but they were like, oh the eyes, it's like yeah, it's like so slanted, it's so like look at me and maybe they're making fun of themselves because, some of the Finnish people on their paternal side, they do have like East Asian derived or Siberian derived, well, it's East Asian. Well, because Y-DNA, N and O used to be um, one group before they split. Um, some people call it Y-DNA NO, but I prefer ON because no NO just sounds like no, but to me, I just want to flip the switch and say no, it's on. It's not no, it's on. Because that also kind of like I feel like respects the original O lineage too, because it's not like oh we're just N and that's it. No, it's like no, there's a reason why it's ON. There's a reason why on the paternal side of the Y-DNA, why that was also equally important too, and O is like really big in modern day Japan, Korea, and China. So that'd be like the paternal lineage. But where is it? It's because she did an image of she did a video on the on the what is it? On the shoot. I will find his name. It's like I'm on a mission. Okay. So yeah, let me see if I'm pronouncing his name right. You Yuzu Zurio Hanyu. Hanyu, yes. Hanyu I can pronounce well. Yuzi I don't know why the first name is tripping me up a bit. Yuzi Yuzuryu. Yuzuryu. Uh, Yuzurio Hanyu. Yeah, Hanyu. I think that's how you say it. Yuzuryu Hanyu. Okay. Yes. So yeah, it's like there's just like that connection with the eyes. I mean, I know like maybe his eyes, like, because I know our eyes both smile. Like, I know his is like the shape itself is like maybe just a little bit different, but like I don't know, like I never just understood like why like and I kind of don't want to like harp on it too much because I know like especially I don't know as much for the Japanese, but the Koreans especially were kind of infuriated. Like they were really I think they wanted to strangle the Finns. Like they want to say, they wanted to go as far as to call them, you Fingolians, you people, I can't believe it. No, but because to me it's like, and I don't want to cover it too much because it's kind of like, to me it just doesn't make any sense. Like I don't really understand this. Like to me it's like I don't like I don't know if they're doing it because like they are looking down at their own ancestry or because really if you look at like because like it wasn't even only her, like there were like other like Finnish, and I'm not trying to harp on the Finns too much because I do have a bit of Finnish ancestry as well, I think, but it's like I don't understand it, like it just doesn't like, and if you look at the Y-DNA of Europe, okay, so you look at Finland in particular. Finland has like the highest percentage of like Y-DNA N, and Y-DNA N is specifically connected to the Y-DNA or the paternal lineage of East Asians. Well, if you go because N and O, because N before it was N was I prefer to say ON because I don't really like saying no for that lineage. I prefer saying on. Like I prefer saying okay, we're on. We're not just no, we're on. We're on. Like to me, that's how I like to see it. Like, um, yeah, this is a lot. I didn't think it was gonna be like this. Okay, but let me see if I can get it. Okay, let me see if I can get it. See, I think the Japanese they're able to like I think not be as upset as much as like the Koreans because I think Koreans when they're upset they'll definitely let you know. I think the Japanese tend to be more reserved. They also have this thing too about like the Finnish Korean hyper war. Like I don't understand that. Like to me I'm like I just don't really I don't know if that's why like there's this like constant thing with Korea and to me it makes no sense. It's kind of like you know like it's like they almost want to say oh yeah like Koreans are all negative and Finnish aren't. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like it's like some kind of like contrived like ugh, contrived. I don't want to call it nonsense because I maybe there are some Koreans and Finnish who are into that and maybe they think it somehow has uh what is it um they somehow are like into it. It makes me think of like the episode from SpongeBob like with Squidward when he's doing like the talent show like when he's yeah, like this, and then they were like throwing tomatoes at him. Like I don't want to be rude, but that's what I kind of think about. It's like it's some kind of yeah. But anyways, so Y-DNA N and O or O and N. Okay. Yeah, no, I prefer to say ON. There's a reason. Um, because it's really on, if you can see it on. Okay. Okay, so uh, yeah, so this used to be one lineage before they separated. Paternally, by the way. This is a paternal lineage, not maternal. This is paternal. Um, and then if you look at the ancestors, yeah, because see, this is a thing. Wait, I don't know if you guys can see this. Hold on. You guys see this? Or am I just okay? Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay, so if you look at the Y-DNA RQ, so Q is very dominant in Native Americans and I think in Hungary and some Turkic tribes and maybe even some groups in Mongolia. R is very big with Celtic people, Celtic and I'll see Celtic, Western Europe, R1B, Eastern Europe, R1A. I think Hungary has a bit of Q, yeah. Then you see the other one, O and N. So it's like one went in one branch, RQ, the other went the other branch, ON. Yeah, see, even here, it's like ON. It's like it's not NO, it's ON. They should just change the no to an ON. It's like the opposite day thing with SpongeBob. It's like you know, it's like wait a minute, like maybe this should be the other way around. Well, I don't know. So yeah, so ON, um, and O is more so dominant in East Asia in particular. And you can see that here. So you see like N is like huge in like Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Russia, bit in Sweden, Norway. So really like that Northern European, Eastern European. I don't know about Poland, but yeah. And then you see with Asia, East Asia, or East, Southeast, Northeast. Yeah, O is huge, and you see a bit of N as well. You see, because this is where NO came from originally. Yeah, Korea has a And maybe that's why the Koreans feel this way. Yeah. They're like, we know where you come from. Yeah, Finland, Mongolia too, actually. Okay, Mongolia. This is like Owen in particular. Okay, and then you look at O, Japan, China. Yeah, so it's kind of yeah. So to me, it's like it doesn't make any sense. To me, it's just kind of it's just there needs to be like that reunion in a healing way, and that's how I see it. That's how I look at it. Because again, for me, I see it as like happy, smiling eyes. Um, and yeah, like hopefully I haven't spent too much time on this. I don't want to harp too much on this because I feel like it's like to me it's kind of a little bit. Mm, it's like a little bit. It's like yeah, I don't know. But yeah. So but it kind of makes sense because like if we even want to go before like Finland and all that stuff, and then the original like YDNAN like when they were uh because they left for a reason. The Avars and Muron left because, the Gokturks or not all the Turks, but there were a group that they were just it was just havoc for a time and they had to go. They had to go. They had to go and but they found their way. They found their way and thankfully they did. Thankfully they did. But yeah, and see this is the other part of the ancestry I never really understood. It's like because they do say like, some of the Finns do look like really Asian. Um, like even though some of them like have blonde hair, blue eyes, and all that. Yeah, you see here. And I don't know if this is why they did what they did. I don't know if like they just struggled to embrace their ancestry. Because to me, I don't really see any problems. The only problem I would see is that if you just say, um, yeah, like I don't know, I don't. To me, it doesn't make any sense. I think what happened with them is like they just kind of it's kind of like when you sometimes go counterclockwise, and it's like sometimes it can be good, but sometimes it cannot always be so good. And sometimes you just have to bring it back, like clockwise. Like sometimes you just got to go back to the roots and then go back to, okay, where did our ancestors come from, and how can we heal with that ancestry? And so that's how I look at it. That's how I view it. Um, and see, for me, like when I think of the Ruron and the Avars, like why they left, it makes me think a lot of like Hraesvelgr and Ysel and 14. Like to me, the Avars or the Ruron would have been like Hraesvelgr trying to find refuge with Ysel. See if I can find her. 'Cause there's like an image I really love, like with Ysel and Hraesvelgr. Crucible, I think, is Norse, by the way. I think. Sorry about that. So, let's see. This is like from Final Fantasy Heavensward, and it's one of my favorite mansions. So there's Giselle. I had one of my I have a friend named Joe, and his like I don't want to say now ex because I think they'll eventually come around at least as maybe friends, hopefully. Um, she looked more so what I thought might have been Mongolian, or maybe she had um I don't know, maybe she also had some Ruron or Joron as well, or maybe not, or I think maybe there's at least some intersection, but she called me a forest elf, and that was kind of funny. But yeah, so this will like be one image of Giselle and Hraesvelg, but there's like another one that I really like. There's like that one, but there's like another one that's like really nice. Yeah, this one, this one. I love this one. Yeah, so to me, this would have been like the Avars and the Ruran who were trying to find refuge in Europe. So they came and then they met, and then Celtic healer could have been like a mix of like Celtic, Germanic, and other tribes as well, maybe even some Greek. Um, this is how I view it. Another one. I really love this one. Um, this one's really nice. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's like this is how I look at it. Like I don't look at it as these kind of I don't want to call them petty battles, but it's kind of like it's like okay, it's like why are you two going at each other the way you are when you can also just find like a healing path. So yeah, so this is how I kind of look at it. Yeah. Like I really love this. Yeah. Um yeah, so that's how yeah, I don't like I'm trying to really understand it. Like I don't know if like some of the Gok Turks also had YDNA haplogroup N or not as well. Like maybe some did, maybe some didn't. I don't know. But let me look at something real quick. Let's see. Because I'm trying to trace the ancestry. See the origin. Okay. What is it? Volga-Uralic Turkic interactions. Far Eastern Ruran, more likely linked to Hungarian. Oh, join the Goktur campaign. I didn't know that. I wish I knew more. I wish, because it's kind of, maybe in that part of Europe, maybe they understand it a bit better, but okay, Northeast Siberia, 4,500 years. Oh, maybe this was even before the Ruran or Avars or all of them came, the medieval period. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that is interesting though, isn't it? Yeah, I'm trying to understand all this myself, but yeah, let me see here real quick. Okay, okay. Yeah, hopefully this is making sense to you guys. I know it's been a lot, and I didn't think I would spend this much time on the East Asian ancestry in particular, but I guess there's a reason why, because I was even trying to understand more myself. Okay, so let me see. So here, look. Okay, so as far as like my Celtic, well, so I got Celtic ancestry from both the islands and the mainland. This would be like the ancestry from the islands, from Britain and Ireland. And so what I read about this, about the Celts who lived in Britain and Ireland, is some of them were also related to the Bellbeaker people. So these were people that had came to Europe, 3, 4,000 years ago, maybe even before, and they would have been, they would have kind of been like the pre-Celtic populations, if that makes any sense. So like even before the Celts. And I think what happened is when there were Iron Age Celts who did come to Britain and Ireland, I think the people who were there kind of were kind of blended with some of them, or they merged, and this is kind of where more so like the Celtic languages would eventually come to be in Ireland and Britain. And so that could be part of it. I also have this match here. Um, this just shows like more so like Germanic and I guess Scandinavian. Here's French. Here's English. Here are the Iron Age Celts. Here to be Spain, Portugal, France, Soft Dutch. Another one. I'm just gonna go through these real quick because I've gone through them before, but yeah. Yeah, so here's some more Celtic. Here's Avar. This one's interesting too. This one's like Greek and Roman. Reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 12. Um, this one's kind of like, yeah, Germanic, Celtic. Welsh, Celtic. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Y-DNA-N, and then maternal haplogroup C4, which I think is big in particularly if I think Tungsuk. I think D is equally as big as well for them, but yeah. Yeah, and you can just see Tuva, Boreat, Kalmuk, Run. I guess before the horde became the, I guess, golden horde or all that. I guess it originally, like, because I guess before Mongolia became Mongolia, before it was inhabited by those who had become like the Mongol horde under Genghis or Kublai or all that. I think initially they were the Ruran or Joron, and this is probably why, even though they're related, um, there's probably a reason why they're not like 100% like genetically the same, because I think the Mongols later, I think they mixed up other groups. I don't know if it's partially like the Gok Turks or the other Turks or some other group, and I don't know if that's why things started getting a little bit hairy. Not saying like that's necessarily the primary cause. I'm sure there's other reasons too. But of course, you don't want to be inbred either. You don't want to get sick. That's why I think my uncle Cherokee Japanese Herman, he loves the word "in addition to" deep down, even though sometimes he struggles with his identity sometimes, or the way he looks at things. But yeah, like I think it was like clearly that mix. Yotova, Boreat, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Of course, you see Mongol here too, but again, that's what Kaya was saying in her video, that some of the Japanese, or I guess some of the Yayoi, had some ancestry from Mongolia as well, or kind of had that some of that shared ancestry, or Northeast Asia or Tungzuk. So it does make sense, it does make sense. Yakut makes me think of like the Yakutia brand, like in Japan. See if I can find it. I think it's Yakutia. It's like a drink. Wait, yeah, this one. Yeah, Yakult. Yeah. I think I've had these before. These are actually pretty good. I haven't had them in a while though, but I don't know if that's the inspiration for it, is like Yakut or something. Like, I don't maybe. Yeah. I think it's neat. I think it's neat. But yeah, and then you can see here the Bell Beaker, populations which would have also went to Britain, Ireland well before the Celts. We were related to Scandinavians like Norwegians, Swedes, North Dutch, Danes. Of course, you know, that's a bit of a connection to Scotland as well. Um, so yeah, it's like, and here you got the Huns, yeah. Yeah, the Huns also were another group as well, but good thing they weren't the only ones who eventually came. Like I think the Ruran and Avars and Jodon eventually were a helpful balance, thankfully enough. But yeah, and I got some Viking here, Viking Danish, um, Celtic, Hungarian, yeah, all kinds of steppe people in the medieval ages. You know, Asiatic steppe. Here's another Denmark. This one's really close to Scottish as well. Celtic. It's excellent. Uh, Burgundy, France, Camp du Chateau, Spain, Spanish, Portuguese, North Italian. Um, this one's also interesting too, like Rome, South Italian, Central Greek. This was also like the original like early Romans, even before Rome was found. So you can see North Italian, Tuscan, Spanish. And you can see a connection at least with the Scordisci, which was a Celtic tribe, Gallo-Roman, which was said to be a mixture between Roman and Celtic. So there was the Gallo-Roman already existed even before it was formally Gallo-Roman. This is Norwegian, Netherlands, Belgic, like Roman. Yeah, see, this is also interesting too. Like, and now I can understand why there are some people that have European descent that clearly look Asian, probably because of people who came, maybe not just like 5,000 years ago. I don't know how many came during that time, but definitely during the medieval period, like it makes sense, like why some people look the way they do. Like they can have blonde hair, blue eyes, and all that, or different eye colors or skin tones, but they can still definitely have that look. Yeah, so you see, of course, you see this here, but you also see the Jodon or the Ruran. And yeah, I don't think at this time they were the the Mongols. I'm gonna see if I can link a video about the Ruran about, or there's like a video about before Mongolia was called Mongolian. No, before Mongolia was called Mongolia. My bad. Yeah, just so you can see it because I know it seems like it's close, and there is a shared ancestry. Maybe this is why like when the samurai and the Mongols were fighting each other, maybe in some ways it was almost like, you know, I'm not gonna say they were like brothers, but at least like definitely like like some kind of distant, well not maybe I don't even call it distant, but it's like some kind of like family feud, maybe that's the way to say it, family feud, I don't know. Um Generational family feud, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's like yeah, it's like it's like because I guess before they were the Mongols or all that, they were like the Ruran or Jodon. I know here it's like it seems like it's closer to that, but no, I think there's a reason why it's like there's a reason why one group is like the Ruran Jodon, the other is like the other one. But I guess they were mixed, even during that that time. So it's really interesting. Um, and yeah. Oh yeah, so this is also an interesting thing too. This one, because like some of my DNA matches will like show like North African or like, and some people like get confused whether it's like Amazigh, Berber, Arab, or Ancient Egyptian, or Canarian. Well, I don't think a lot of people know much about the Canary Islands, but Canarians were like indigenous people of Canary Islands, and sometimes they do remind me a bit of the Jomon a little bit. Maybe I don't know if it's because it's just like both two distant islands, but yeah. This image would have been Tuscan, North Italian, West Sicilian, Algerian, Amazigh, Berber, Tunisian, Moroccan. Uh, yeah, beautiful woman though, at least in this image. Yeah. Um. So yeah. So yeah. So and then I have a match here with Somerset. And I'll show the Ancestry DNA matches I got as well, just to show you guys. I feel like now I'm kind of leaning towards the MyHeritage being more accurate than the what is it? Than the Ancestry DNA results, because I feel like it feels more balanced. But yeah, I'll show you guys. This is Donnie. Yeah, Viking Norwegian. Or I don't even see Donnie here. Some of them have it, but Polish stuff. Yeah, this one reminds me a lot of my mom's dad. French Visigoth, Kotani, French back. This Viking. Viking again. Welsh, North Dutch. This one's Celtic in France. Welsh, French. Well, maybe it's some Germanic. Celtic, Germanic. Hungarian. There were tons of people that were coming through during the medieval period. It was a lot more than I thought. I thought it was just a little bit, but it was a whole whole bunch. Not necessarily a bad thing though, but but this is just like the part of the ancestry I never really quite understood completely. This is Skordishi, the Celtic tribe in Croatia. As a blend of the Aurelians connected to Mycenaean Greeks and then Celts. Yeah, so you see, kind of see here, almost like Anatolian Greek. I guess, yeah, makes sense. Section. Yeah, it was a lot. It was, oh yeah, and then this one's also Celtic Breton, but it's also closest modern day populations is I think Scottish, Orkney, and then Irish. Then you can see Gal, Breton, Celtic tribes. This one I think I got from my mum. Spanish animal. Visigoth, Cottoni. Visigoths, by the way, they came from. It was said they came from southern Scandinavia, and then they went throughout Europe. Also, were said to have sacked Rome, but they eventually found a balance with one another. Thankfully enough, they eventually found a common ground. Thank goodness. Celtic Breton. There's Etruscan. Italy. Orkney. Hellenic Rome. All different groups. This one reminds me of my grandma a little bit. It mixed with Spanish. Uh, Senamani was a Celtic tribe in northern Italy. Brilliant Donny Etruscan. I have a bit of red hair that sometimes grows in my beard, by the way. So even though my hair is like it's kind of a dark hair, I sometimes get like bright red hairs that come through my beard, and maybe this is also through part of my Celtic ancestry or Norse. Or I know even some of the Thracians were said to grow red hair as well. So uh, yeah, this. Let me look at this Gothic. Just check. This is like an ancient match from Spain during the Age of Heroes. To be like Aurelian, Akkadian, Greek, Western Greek, Etruscan, Macedonian. Yeah, I have a lot of different matches here. Yeah, it's a lot. I even have like one like going back to this is like a like it's not like anything huge, but I think I got like yeah. It's like this one just shows like the original people who would have lived in when Canaan was called Kenan, and this is before like um because like sometimes people ask me like if I have any ancient Egyptian in me, and this is kind of like the original people of Kenan, like before Jewish was ever a thing, and this was like Kenan, Phoenician, ancient Egyptian, and it's kind of like the blend of the three. And it's not like anything huge, but yeah, American, Palestinian, yeah. Um, and so it just and the one thing that was interesting too was like J2B1. I learned J2B1 and J2B2 used to be like a shared lineage, a fair bit of, going back, thousands of years ago. But yeah, so you see like here J2B2 is like North Italian, Spanish, Portuguese. You see it related to like the Aurelian Greeks and then the Gauls and Dani, like, and even the Avars too. Like some of them also had this lineage as well. So some had East Asian lineage, paternal N, and then some had, of course, maternal haplogroup D. But some also had J2B2 as well. So that's also like something interesting to know as well, that some of the Avars who were on also had mixed with different groups. Then you got the Aurelians. And so yeah, it's like a lot of interesting stuff. Now, the thing is with this one, not all I didn't get all the same results either for this one, and I didn't get the. I mean, the one I showed you with the Phoenician, Ancient Egyptian, and Kenan, it's such a small like sample. Like it's not really even that huge. Like it's like really small. So I'm surprised that like I'm not surprised that it didn't show up on this one. The reason why I struggle with this one a bit more is not because of that. It's because I know I have like Ruran and Avar lineage. I know that either through Native American Japanese lineage or maybe through my mom's side as well, but I just don't understand like hold on, I'll see if I can find this. Cause see, I understand this. Like this makes sense, you know, for Celtic Healer. Um, what doesn't make sense is, I'll show you after. Yeah, see, I don't know about this either. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so the thing is that this one, I think it's like, I don't feel like because I had this one in my other match as well, but it was nowhere near as high. Let's see if I can find this. I do have it. It's just not anywhere. I should. I don't know what happened to it. Oh yeah, no, here. I don't know why it's a different name, but yeah, so I don't know why this one went up a fair bit. And then this one too, I just feel like it's I don't know. Just like it just doesn't because I had Ruron and Avar samples that I don't think it's like this. Maybe, but it's just this one kind of just doesn't it doesn't feel like it matches up as well. I mean it may it like this the samples are still there, but it's just like it's not like I don't think it's as accurate. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. I could be um yeah, I just don't you can see this one's a lot less as well. Yeah, I don't I have a feeling the one the match I got earlier was pretty fairly accurate. And then you can see these ones are also a lot higher. Um yeah, so this one would be like a connection to because the Aurelians and Akkadian Greeks weren't really that genetically different. Um but yeah, and then they also would mix with the other Celtic or Gallo-Celtic tribes later, or and I guess even some mixed with the Cherusci a little bit. Yeah, it just this one just doesn't. This one just kind of seems a bit more. I don't want to call it fishy, but it just doesn't. It just seems like it just feels more off. Not saying that there aren't any additional matches that might be right, but it just doesn't. It doesn't have like the same ring to it. It just doesn't. It doesn't really. mm, Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah. I don't know. Like I just feel like this. Like I feel like. Well, let me. bring it back. I feel like this makes a lot more sense for me. Um, than this. I think this is just a little bit. Is a little bit. Because here, this makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense. This checks. This checks. This checks. This checks. This checks. This checks. Yeah, all this feels like it checks just right for me. But this just doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't feel as accurate. At least for me anyways. But yeah, that's why it's good to like, I'm glad I decided to take both tests because even though like I'm not always the biggest fan of MyHeritage, specifically because especially with the ethnicity results, sometimes they overestimate some things. I feel like when it comes to like the raw DNA, I feel like the raw DNA is I feel like it's more accurate because like here it just kind of feels like here I can definitely see like these being my closest modern day population just by genetic distance. Like this makes more sense to me. Well, this is kind of sorry about that. Yeah, it's just kind of a bit more. Mm, it just doesn't have the same ring to it. So yeah, I'm going right now. I'm gonna go with the MyHeritage for the raw DNA. I don't know for you guys if one has been better than the other, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys that. Oh yeah, then the other things too is oh before I go, ooh, is I noticed that with the ancestry DNA, I had like less Arctic semiotic and then North Amerindian and like it's like it wasn't like by a huge amount in MDLP 22, but it was like enough to like say like yeah, like it that doesn't really make sense either. And then Austronesian as well, yeah. Like I feel like this is I mean it's probably not 100% accurate, but it's at least a little bit better. But yeah, that's what I feel like. Oh yeah, and then this one too was pretty interesting as well. But yeah, like I just want to show okay. Oh, yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream because it's I've been going on for a while now. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found some of this informative. And yeah, I think I'll be off for now. Hope you guys take care.